B1049 is the fault code on this. I've already diagnosed it, and it is the clock spring which is behind here. So we're going to disconnect the battery and then we'll get to removing some stuff. Just tuck that down there. So just in here you can see there's that little bar. To push that bar inwards with the screwdriver, and that will release the airbag. There's one on this side, and there's one on that side. So once you get it pulled off at the top, it should still be holding a little bit at the bottom. So just try and lift that up, and it should just wiggle forward. So just trying to show here, you can see there's a little lip there which the bottom of the airbag sits in, and then there's this little dowel locator here which goes over that bit there. So you just have to lift it up a touch, not much, and then you kind of pull it towards yourself. So we've got a few plugs here. Got one here which is just a little tab, so you just push down on the tab and then release it, and this one here is the same. Push down on the tab and then that pulls through, and then this last one here is the airbag one. You don't need to undo this one here. This one here is part of this little piece of wiring loom, and it just stays connected. You don't need to undo it. So with the airbag, it has a little plastic clip in here. You need to pull the plastic clip up, and then the whole airbag connector, this whole yellow part, slides out. But the most important thing is the procedure for removing this says to wait 10 minutes after the battery's been disconnected, because there is a little electric device called a capacitor, and it stores battery voltage, so that in an accident, if the car is somehow separated from the battery supply, like it gets, you know, front-ended and the battery gets disconnected somehow, this will still be able to draw voltage for a while from somewhere for emergency situations. So we're definitely gonna give it the full time. It's only been like 3 minutes since I disconnected the battery, so we got a bit more time to wait. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, so we can now move on with just prying this little black clip up. So once you get this middle part of the clip up, there you go. Then that allows the yellow part to come loose, and then that can just be set to one side for now. And while we're here, some 19mm for this. They're not super tight, it's not that difficult to do with a ratchet. There we go. And then the steering wheel comes off as well. This is our clock spring here. So we need to remove this cowling up and above. There we go. And then we just need to remove that as well. So for this next bit, you'll need an actual screwdriver. If you've got one of these bit holders, it's too big to fit up there. So you need a screwdriver to be able to get all these screws out. There is 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So just gently wedge a screwdriver in there and just pry up very, very gently. It doesn't need to be hard. There we go. That's pretty much out of the way now. Then we can pull the bottom down and out of the way. It's got to come out and around over the side of that, which is the tricky bit on these. I need 2 hands for that. So just have to kind of push it that way and pull it down. Just leave it there, don't remove it completely. Now I want to get these off here, and we just want to squeeze in these white tabs. One on the top and one on the bottom. Just here, so there's one, then there's the other one. So you just squeeze them both at the same time, and then it just pulls off. Do the same on the other side. we go. That's out of the way. That one there's plugged in at the back, but it can just stay where it is now. And now we can focus on starting to remove this clock spring. So there's 2 screws, one in this side here, and then there's another one just there. And basically there now. So if you wiggle it, you'll see that the bottom is basically loose, but it's stuck on here at the back. So what it is, there's a little tab here. You push it down and then it slips out, and that's it. Clock spring is pretty much loose. There's a plug left at the bottom which we need to unplug. There's a few little plugs back here, and these are exactly the same as the other ones. You just depress the tabs and pull them out. So this is it now. This is what we're left with. Be careful when you put the new clock spring on that you don't screw it down wonky because you've pinched this behind it. You don't necessarily have to unplug it, but just be aware that you need to keep it pushed out of the way. All right. Apart from that, the rest of it is just plug and play. We just plug the plugs back in where they came out from, which you can't do wrong. They only plug in to one plug. You can't plug them in the wrong way or anything like that, so you're safe. And that's it. You just pop on the new one and you're away. So first things first, I want to get these bottom things plugged in to here and then slip it on. Naturally, when trying to plug everything in, I realised I need to remove this from the old one and fit it onto our new one, because there's a plug on top of this which that plugs into. So there's 2 locating dowels on it, one on this corner here and then another one up here, so get them lined up, and then we just tighten down these little screws and then that's good to go. And that's how we're looking. All 3 plugs are in, and now we just get it slipped back onto there, and then we tighten down our 2 screws, and again make sure you're not pinching that. And naturally when you're fitting it, there is a little dowel here at the back. Let's see if we can show you. Just here. It's too close to focus on, but make sure that dowel is located, and then make sure that you get that clip in. Make sure everything's flat, tighten down, and then you're away. You'll notice this one here is not moving at the moment. It's because it's got this little sleeve on it, which we will remove. There we go. That just stops the clock spring from turning from side to side too much while you're fitting it. Now I just slip these back in. Same on this side. Makes a really nice satisfying click. Yeah, okay, that's it. That's everything there sorted. So now all we need to do is put the cowling back together. I'm going to keep this up and out of the way. I think this is the tricky part here, is getting that bit. See how it just slips over? It kind of has to slip up and then in. So there we go. Make sure that's pushed back up properly, and then we can clip these 2 here back together. Easier to do this with 2 hands, obviously. Just squeeze that back together, and then you put the screws in from the underneath. While we're here, we'll just get this bit here clipped back on. It's got this little tab here which slots into the side of it. There we go. Cool. That's good. Okay. So you can see the steering wheel here has a mark in it, which corresponds to a mark up there. So make sure you line those up. Mine is absolutely spot on. So I'm just going to put a touch of thread lock on here, and then I'm going to tighten this back down. There we go, just a little bit of thread lock. I've never had one come loose, and I've done more than my fair share with and without, but it does make me feel better just to put a bit of thread lock on it. There we go. So step 1 is obviously to just get our airbag reconnected. So just want to line that up there. Don't force it. When it goes, it goes. And and then push the safety tab in. There we go, that's connected. And now we just need to connect these two plugs here to the back here. There's one. There's two. Make sure they are plugged in properly. There we go. And now we can clip back in the airbag. So remember to get that dowel in there first. So we want to slip it down, hook it up and into there. Make sure that the bottom is located before we clip in the top. And then once that's done, we just push in the top section here. There we go. There we go. So I've got the bottom here pretty much flush, so it's in. And now we can push in the top. There we go. Make sure everything's clipped in properly. Awesome. Obviously the horn won't work, the battery's disconnected. So now we put the battery back on, and then we just double check that everything works. You know, double check all this stuff on the steering wheel still works, check all the stalks and all the different settings. But that's essentially it. That'll be it. And you may need to as well, if you do have an airbag light on, even with a new clock spring fitted. If you did have the same problem with this, then you may need to clear that fault code. What happens is that there's a wire that plugs in here, or should I say, it plugs into the back here, that bit that doesn't move. And then as the steering wheel moves with this, there's a cable on the inside of this drum that keeps the plug that doesn't move connected to the plugs that do move. So it winds and unwinds itself like an extension lead. And eventually when they wear out, they break on the inside, which separates the airbag from the rest of the circuit. And that's often why you get fault codes with airbags like I have on this car here. So hopefully that helps. And if you run into any problems I haven't covered in this video, then leave a comment and maybe help somebody else out. So we see here after the repair, we got the airbag light flashing. And we've got the fault code here, driver's airbag open, the B1049. And now rather than being a present code, it is a pass code. So we can clear that and that will put the light out. Go, clear the fault codes, fire it up again, read codes, and there will be nothing. Ta-da! And will our light be out? It surely is. That's what we like to see. It's important to always take it for a test drive as well, and just move the steering wheel as much as you can. Make sure that the airbag light does indeed stay off. As you can see, mine has. Make sure everything works, horn works, make sure the indicators work, make sure the lights work, etc, etc. Same with the wash wipe system, make sure that everything's working, and that's it. She's fixed. And this is how I test the clock spring. So I pin that, get some clips on it, and then I short the two pins together in here and hold that diagonal. It's quite a fair bit of pressure I keep on it to make sure I make good contact. And then I get my ohms reading on here, and then I move the clock spring around, and then I wait to see if the ohms drop out. There you go. See there, it just goes open loop or open circuit, and I'm still making contact. And then if I bring it back and move it around again, eventually it will go open circuit. You can also do that test on the car. So, and there you go, you can see I'm still keeping good contact on those pins down there. In fact, I wonder if I can show both. No, I can't, not at the same time. But yeah, that's one way that you can test it. And obviously if it ever goes open circuit, then you know that you've got an internal intermittent short and that you need a new clock spring, which is how I diagnosed this one.